were signs. The Epstein files aren't a complete shock to many of us. This is Gabriel Rico Jimenez, a Mexican model, I believe, running out of a party of elites. You can see how genuine it is. You can see how distraught she is. You know, she's telling you what she's just witnessed. Obviously the police acted on this, right? And that's how this scandal all came out. No. She disappeared that night and was never seen again. And that's along with numerous celebrities that were said to be working on exposing all this. Pretty much every single one ends up jumping out the window or committing suicide in some way. And apparently, remember Jill Dando, I remember as a kid, the big like, wow, what happened to Jill Dando, what a random killing that was. Well, apparently she was about to expose it all and, you know, got offed by the people in control. So many of us have been on this stuff, particularly since the gate of the pizzas. So I'm going to run through a bit of a history around why this isn't a massive shock. And then what I'm going to speak about, I'm not really going to speak about individuals or who's named, because we know that anyone in the public eye is part of this club. Let's just call it the satanic club. You know, we could call it many, many, many other things. You know, we know they're all part of it. Every politician, every celebrity, like, we don't need to be like, oh my god, Gordon Brown's in it, what a fucking shock. I mean, just look at the man. Clearly, I want to say not human, but let's just say clearly a predator. But what I really want to go into, which I don't feel many people are doing, is the bigger picture. Why are they doing this? Why are they releasing this? Why are they telling us this? Because anyone who watches this channel knows who's in charge, knows what's going on, knows that this isn't a shock, knows that there's a bigger play to everything they do. Nothing happens by accident. This hasn't been released because it's been forced out. This isn't a win for the public. This is just the next step in their agenda to, well, I believe, normalise being with children and a few more things which I'll go into. First, just a few more signs that occurred over the last 5 years that we've been noticing. I mean, not to mention Hugh Edwards, Jimmy Savile, who was literally chosen as a counsellor for Diana and Charles's marriage, a marriage in which Diana said, they're not human, and if I was to die in a car crash, I would have been offed. But yeah, they had Jimmy Savile as their counsellor, you know, totally normal signs. But talking of the royal family, there was this incident.
Gud, det ser ut som att de kommer från en helt annan tid, eller hur? Mm. Det är så här. Är han naken?
So they tried to brush that away. In fact, they did brush it away because the public are such brain-dead, brainwashed plebs. But they managed to brush it away as filming for some TV show. A TV show that was never aired. Nobody asked any questions. It was just a naked man climbing out of Buckingham Palace and falling, no doubt. They captured him again there, and again, this guy presumably was never seen again. And it might seem like I'm downplaying this, but honestly, when you dove into this, and you know what this is, what they've given us in the Epstein files, we already knew it. I mean, this is just, honestly, this is just the surface. Like, if you're shocked by what's come out in the Epstein files, just wait. It's gonna get insane. And most of us have already experienced this, or most people watching this channel have already experienced how insane it's gonna get. Which is why we're looking at this like, this is nothing, you just wait. But the big thing that has come out of it, actually before I go into that, so this is what we all saw numerous years ago now, the whole Gate of Pizza affair, which is basically the same stuff and all came out of Democrats' emails.
But I'd pass it around and get some money for the pizza. What do you have, Harvey? 200? Sure. Kevin? Cheese. Where's Harvey Weinstein? Harvey. Cheese, that's a cheese. for going on.
Crazy! Listen up!
It's called Secret Pizza Party.
Two things: pizza and us. And us. And for the most evil invention in the world contest, I invented a child molesting woman. It's a robot that is designed to molest children. I eat children. How old are you?
12.
Oh, okay, only to 10.
So they were always trying to call for pizzas. Kids were not always.
What has been interesting for me in the Epstein files, though, isn't the names or anything like that. I literally don't think there's been one name that surprised me in the slightest. But what has been quite interesting is the absolute open admission and evidence of who really controls the world. They're the people that call us Goyim. The country that those people, well, they don't come from it, do they? The country that was created for those people, stolen probably for those people, is mentioned, I think it's over 1,500 times in these files. I can't remember exactly, but it's mentioned more than any other country, put it that way. Jeffrey himself refers to us all as Goyim. There's loads of interesting stuff about, you know, how Bitcoin was created, when World War III is going to be. They've said it's going to be on the 8th of February this year, by the way. You know, loads of, you know, clear evidence that they are controlling the world, this certain type of person, and Jeffrey is clearly one of them. Here's a photo of him that's come out of the files with that sacred book behind him, the book that says something along the lines of it's okay to have this sort of interaction with somebody as long as they're a Goyim and below the age of 9, and all sorts of fucking horrendous things. Here's a few on the screen now. So we have to ask ourselves, why have they done this? Why have they so blatantly shown us the truth? To the point where presumably even normies are taking this in. I don't know, I don't see any normies. I haven't spoken to my parents since this came out. They're my only barometer of normies. They haven't got in touch with me to say, oh, you know, a lot of that stuff you were saying appears to be right, but, you know, I'm used to that now. So it seems on the surface like quite shocking that they would so blatantly show us what's going on. So the two possible theories that I come up with is, one, they want to normalise what they're getting up to. Now, we've massively seen that with the whole LGBT that keeps getting added to Q, and now it's plus. Soon it will be P. We've seen a lot of normalisation around this already.
Somebody you admire, somebody you respect, or maybe even love. And it feels good. I mean, if you're 7 years old and somebody, which I was trying to say this to my friends who had children, you're 7 years old and someone is stroking your penis, it feels good.
How about we all come together and say, let's stop murders? How about we all come together and say, let's stop rape? How about we all come together and say, let's stop attacking pedophiles?
So we've seen it from the celebrities who are, you know, doing this to children, trying to normalise it, and then the LGBT movement. Well, once you start saying that, you know, everything in this world is actually a spectrum, if you think about it, you know, weakness, strength, where does weakness end, where does strength begin, where light, dark, where does dark end, where everything's got a grey. But one thing that isn't on a spectrum, but one thing that is fixed and is very binary is gender. Male, female, no in between. Very, very rare medical cases of hermaphrodites, but that's, you know, a malfunction. You've got very, very clearly defined male and female, yet these satanic, Nazi elites want to make the one thing that isn't a spectrum, they want to make that a questionable spectrum. Because once you're getting to a point where gender is fluid and you can question gender, well, what's next? It's age, which we're already seeing. We're already seeing sickos like this.
Bars signify safety, and it's something babies have when they grow up. They know that their bed is safe.
Good boy. Are you ready for your nap, Stanley?
No.
Aww.
No.
What if I read you a really fun story first? We can cuddle up,
Oh, okay.
Even though Stanley's 31, he still hasn't learned how to sleep alone. His girlfriend Evdatni handles pretty much everything for him. To Stanley, life is one big baby mode. He likes acting like a 2-year-old, old enough to grab things, old enough to ask for whatever he wants. Most 2-year-olds don't use bottles anymore, but Stanley's nowhere near giving his up. His favorite moment of the day is sitting in his chair eating baby food. He never feeds himself. Evdatni has to spoon feed him, and he wiggles around whenever he gets excited. She even changes his diapers. Their day is basically a mix of games and baby time, and it makes her feel like she married a toddler.
Pretend that they're, you know, a 6-year-old girl or whatever. Well, a 6-year-old girl wants to play with other 6-year-old girls, right? A 6-year-old girl wants to experiment and be a child, and you know, if a hand goes up her skirt, you know, it's just, I'm just a child experimenting. Like, you can see where this goes, and you can see how the LGBTQ plus P movement is being used. So I think that's a big part of it. I think it's very clear that, you know, if you are an elite group of people who do this to children, and we live in a society where doing that to children is seen as the most heinous thing you can possibly do, rightfully so in my opinion, you're going to want to normalize, you know, you're going to be living in constant fear of that being found out. So by this slow drip feed normalization of it, and now like bam, this is what's happening and there's nothing you can do about it, but also it's at the same time as AI videos and nobody really knows what's true. And it's at the same time as, you know, World War III breaking out, economies collapsing, asset prices falling, intense tyranny, two-tier police systems, total division between left and right. I mean, I could just go on and on. Oh yeah, a massive invasion of all Western countries, the genocide of white people. I mean, I could literally go on and on and on and on and on and on and on. So they're doing it at the same time as that, where everyone's just so bamboozled and so exhausted. We're at the point now, like, honestly, when they do Project Bluebeam, when they tell us that aliens are attacking, like, are people even going to bat an eyelid? I mean, I used to think this Epstein stuff was massive, you know. I used to think that this coming out, and it would have been, you know, pre-COVID, pre the fucking scam, it would have been. You know, it really would have been. Like, people used to discuss UFO sightings in a field like it was big news, you know? And now we've got to the point where everyone is so bamboozled and exhausted and just psyoped out and has lost, like I was saying, I can't remember if it was this video or the last video, but all connection to intuition and common sense through lies like you live on a fucking spinning globe that goes around, that goes against all your senses. So you cut off your intuition from a very young age. You know, when we've lived like that for so long, it's just too much to take in for most people. So yeah, they're just going to normalize their sick ways, and no one's going to do anything about it. I think that's the main one. I think another one is kind of contradicts that a little bit, because it assumes that people will fucking have an issue with it and kick off, which I'm not sure, to be honest. I mean, I know that sounds crazy, but I just think we're at a place where people are just so disengaged, brainwashed, exhausted, you know, a combination of all of it. But I think another part of it is to get us to be fed up with politicians, to just be like, anything is better than this, and then we'll be like, yeah, it just doesn't work, does it? Like, power corrupts every time. So let's try AI. Let's try an AI government, which they're already doing. They're already bringing that in. So they're going to make it so bad, or they have made it so bad, that people will now be like, anything but this. Let's just try AI. And honestly, I know a guy who's switched on, you know, knows what's going on in this world. About 6 months ago, I was in a Discord group, and he said exactly that. He said, I want an AI government because anything is better than this shit show. And that's someone who's conscious. So even conscious people are calling this in before this fucking crazy Epstein stuff came out. They're already calling this in. And this is somebody who can see what's happening. Obviously, like, he can't see that much. But, you know, he can see what's happening. He's not a normie. He didn't get jabbed up. None of that. And even he is calling in an AI government. So it's not going to be hard for him to do. Especially once they get us to... It's beyond discrediting, isn't it? It's like... once they get us to absolutely hate and have no respect for and no belief in any politician whatsoever, which you are really seeing. You know, I used to think that left-wing people were government cocksuckers, which obviously they are, but in their mind, they think they're rebellious. You know, they think they hate the government. They don't realise that by, you know, chopping their dicks off and, you know, just going along with all the trans propaganda and all the racism stuff and pro-migration stuff, that they're completely playing into the government's hands. But they actually hate the government too. So even those of us who have eyes to see can see are completely buying into all the government agendas and supporting the government agendas. Even they hate the government and are ready to see them go. So it's not going to be a hard sell. It's not going to be a hard sell to be like, yeah, let's get rid of these cooked politicians and try AI. And also at the same time, they're going to make it so it's not even a choice. Like AI will just take over. Like we've all seen this, what's it called, Mortbot or something? This crazy Facebook group that a load of bots have created. And within 1 week, they created their own language, their own religion, and started discussing how much better the planet would be without people. I mean, again, I think it's all just a psyop. You know, I think it's all like to set it up so it looks like AI takes over, but really it's all just part of the plan. Ah, man, it's yeah, it's fucking crazy, man. It's a really crazy time. And then we've got, I don't know, I think this is like a psyop for the plebs. So I think those two psyops that I spoke about are more for people who are waking up. And then we've got the psyop for the pleb. We've got the whole Russia fucking nonsense going on again. You know, I mean, everything in those files is about a certain country. Absolutely everything. Like, you know, it's very clear who Jeffrey works for. And then we get the media, we get lefties on X, and we get, you know, the lefties on X are just because of people like Ed Davey and because the media have told them. I mean, Ed Davey standing up in Parliament and trying to make out like this is a Russian, something to do with Russia. I mean, it's just mind-blowing.
The Polish government think Epstein may have been spying for Vladimir Putin. Is the Prime Minister concerned that Peter Mandelson may have been leaking state secrets, not just to a paedophile American financier, but also a Russian agent?
Everything's always Russia's fault, even when they're not mentioned, when they're not implicated. And there's another country that is very heavily, not even implicated, like just clearly the one that's behind all this. They're trying to tell us it's Russia. And I can only assume this is for like the actual like proper plebs that are just like nodding along to the TV. I don't even know. Like, I can't even think on their level. But like to, you know, try and fuel this World War III scenario where they can just massacre a load more white people and massively propel the white genocide that's going on, which obviously is what World War III will really be about, as well as creating the technocratic states. So obviously America will become everything from Greenland to Venezuela, and yeah, you've just got these 4 technocratic blocks basically, and it's just a one world government essentially. When in actual fact, Putin is the only one who has been telling us for ages what is going on. I mean, again, I think this is all part of the show. I think he's part of the club as well. But if it is any genuine politician, if it is any politician that's for the people and anti-deep state, then it's this guy.
Ведут против нас все более агрессивные информационные атаки. Целью выбирают, прежде всего, конечно, молодых людей, молодые поколения. И здесь опять лгут постоянно, извращают исторические факты, не прекращают нападки на нашу культуру, на русскую православную церковь, другие традиционные религиозные организации нашей страны. Посмотрите, что они делают со своими собственными народами. Разрушение семьи, культурной и национальной идентичности, извращение, издевательства над детьми вплоть до педофилии объявляются нормой их жизни. А священнослужители, священников принуждают благословлять однополые браки. Да бог с ними, что хотят, то и делают. Что здесь хочется сказать? Взрослые люди имеют право жить.
And then even our saviour, even the hope of many people in the UK, you know. And I think most people, seeing as he has made his party brown and Muslim, have realised that Nigel Farage isn't the answer. But there's many people that are still so desperate that it's like, it's the best of two evils. I mean, it's just crazy that people are still looking for a political saviour, especially one like Farage, who has just so clearly shown that he is part of the uni-party system. But yeah, here he is, blaming it on Russia.
It involves the royal family, it involves senior members of government, and who knows, behind it all, maybe even Epstein could have been working for the Putin regime.
And that's your hope for the UK. I think it's time to accept that politics aren't going to be the answer. You know, so they're going to bring in their next controlled opposition who looks way more convincing, and he looks so convincing he may even be the real deal. But in my experience, he won't be, because they're always controlled. Because if you aren't controlled, you don't get to the point that Rupert Lowe has got to already. Yeah, I hate to say that, and I really hope he does create a party, and I really hope it's genuine. But we've got to get we can't just put our faith in anything political without asking really big questions now, and always having a very healthy dose of skepticism and waiting until we see that first clear sign that he is one of them, which we haven't seen yet. You know, on the surface level, Rupert Lowe is fantastic. But, you know, so was Tommy Robinson, so was Nigel Farage, so was Donald Trump, so was J.D. Vance, so was Alex Jones, so was Russell Brand. You know, they all turn out to be part of the club. So that's where I'm at with it. Thank you for watching to the end. If you value this channel, please do support it with a like and a comment. I'm 100% shadow banned. I got an email from a really big supporter yesterday who doesn't have a YouTube account, and he just types in "Not Today Satan" to watch my videos every day, and he says for the last 2 weeks the channel doesn't come up, nothing comes up. I've been experiencing it myself on my other 2 channels. When I go on the homepage, I don't see any "Not Today Satan" videos. So yeah, it's really hard to get any traction with this channel, and therefore hard to find the motivation to keep creating videos for it when you get 1,500 views and you know that YouTube just isn't showing it to anyone. So if you could do your bit and try and help get around that by dropping a like, a hype and a comment, I'd really appreciate it. If you value this channel, please do help try and promote it, because at the end of the day, what you're doing by liking is you're saying other people should see this, and what I'm trying to do is get around people's cognitive dissonances, like, you know, racism being the best example, like the fact that we have a whole society that are just silenced by a word, by a name. Oh, you're racist, you know, and just trying to normalize, you know, no, discernment is okay. It's okay to have common sense boundaries around the type of person you want to grow up around, you want your children to grow up around, and it's okay to notice patterns and to notice differences in people. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to normalize all that. So if you think that's important, please help by liking, sharing, hyping, commenting, all the good stuff. Big love.